what are all the things it does? Apart from, it's like lowers the blood sugar, you know that. Stores sugar inside the cells, makes triglycerides, makes fat, especially belly, prevent fat burning. Huh. With the, it's like a presence of insulin, you are just running on the treadmill just like that. Will the fat goes? Then blame is for whom? Nothing will happen. So, prevent fat burning, feed cell fuel, stop autophagy. Now, it's a good word, no? Autophagy. Good word. Have you heard about autophagy? 2017, in fact, Shumi or something, I just forgot his full name. He got Nobel Prize for finding this process called autophagy. What is autophagy? It's actually, we need it in fact. Autophagy is a brilliant system. After that, after 2017 onwards, most of the treatment has changed. You know why? We used to do fasting before, isn't it? No? But how to do fasting is a thing. We take, suppose we are eating like 3 square meals a day, like okay, today I'm fasting. I'm drinking a tea in the morning, afternoon might be a tea, and evening a tea and fasting. Is it all right? Why it's not all right? Because when you're fasting, it's not absence of what? It's not absence of food. It's absence of sugar or the carbohydrate. You understand? Is it the culprit is only sugar? What else has sugar? Tell me, just like, because you must know that your general knowledge, like, what else has sugar? All the carbohydrate has sugar. So that means what? Yeah, sugar has got energy. Sugar has got 4 gram, 1 gram of this one has got 4 grams of kilocalorie of energy. Even protein also has. Fat has got 8 grams of 8 kilocalorie of energy from the 1 gram of fat. But I'll tell you this thing, rice, is it? Rice is more dangerous than this. Sugar is having only little bit, no. Idli is just like having 4 teaspoons of sugar. And it's plain, it's like idli is good, in fact, a little bit good because it has that dal also. Otherwise, idli also does the same, like it's just like sugar only. So any carbohydrate actually triggers all these response. That's why the moment you reduce the carbohydrate to a certain level, but we are used with what? Our palate is mainly on what? Carbohydrate is the cheapest food, isn't it? 1 kg of rice is only we get it for 3 or 4 this thing, we can survive with that. Can you survive only with the eating meat? Like 40, 30, it's like it's very expensive. But when you see the result of, it's like even in Africa, actually now they could afford to buy weekly, twice or thrice, the meat and egg and all. The entire, it's like, this one improved in fact. That death rate, in fact, it's like life expectancy, in fact, improved a bit because by implementing the protein only. Okay, so what I'm saying is, any carbohydrate, like wheat is a carbohydrate, but wheat has what it exactly along with the wheat is there? It has fiber along with that one. That's why, have you heard about a thing? What is the advantage of having fiber on the food? What is the advantage? Fiber is it helpful for anything? Is it fiber has any nutrients or anything? Fiber is called roughage. Roughage means fiber is a thing which doesn't have anything, just like a cushion. But what it does is, have you heard about the term called glycemic index? The food is divided into the different glycemic index. Like if you have this one, the glycemic index is 86, 87. Have you ever heard about that? Glycemic index. Glycemic index means the moment the food enters into the system, how much faster it converts into sugar. That's called the glycemic index. Accordingly, when you divide that one, white rice has 78 is the rate of this one. White rice is stands on high. Even 67 for the wheat also, but wheat has only advantage of, it's like it has the fiber. That's why the sugar absorption will be more sustained basis. So it will remain on the bloodstream for a longer period of time. Digestion will happen only slowly. So we were talking about the autophagy, we just diverted. Autophagy is very simple.
Additional functions of insulin. lowers blood sugar, but it is contradicting to what is makes fat, especially belly.
No, additional functions of insulin lowers blood sugar. It lowers blood sugar, isn't it?
So if I take more insulin,
It lowers blood sugar goes down.
but it will add make me fat, no?
Definitely. That's what the contradiction is. That's why specifically I written this point. This is the contradiction is there. Because you may become little bit slim while taking the insulin because the nutrients are not absorbed properly. The food which you are having, which is not inserted into the, it's like cell in a proper way. That's why you might lose. That one also not fat. Fat remains, only proteins and just goes, muscle fat goes. So that's why your whole system collides. And you look.
No, that means if I take food, immediately my BP will go down.
Not BP.
No, because insulin, when I take rice, that means the insulin is there in the rice also.
No. That is sugar. Glycogen is there. Whatever the food is there, sugar increases inside the system. In the arteries, you should not have sugar. നമ്മുടെ ശരിക്കും ബ്ലഡ് ഇതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് ഷുഗർ പാടില്ല എന്ന് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഷുഗർ ഒരു ലിമിറ്റ് കൂടുതൽ പാടാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് ഇൻസുലിൻ ട്രൈ ടു കൺട്രോൾ ദാറ്റ്. ഇത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഇൻസുലിൻ അപ്പോൾ ഇതിനെ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇൻസുലിൻ എന്താ ചെയ്യാന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇത് ഓരോ സിപ്പ് തുറന്നിട്ട് ഓരോ സെല്ലിലേക്ക് ഇത് കുത്തി ഇട്ട് കൊടുക്കും ഈ എക്സസ് വരുന്ന. അപ്പോൾ ഇൻസുലിൻ ഇല്ലാതെ വരുന്ന അവസ്ഥയാണ് ഡയബറ്റീസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ആ ഇൻസുലിൻ റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ insulin resistance where insulin was so high in the body. The moment you start taking insulin from outside, the body stops producing insulin and the body doesn't have insulin at all after that. So whenever you take the food, you have to depend upon the outside insulin in fact. Is that clear?
How does that make us fatter? Like you said, it will be deposited in the belly, no?
Belly is because whenever the glucose is down, cortisol is produced.
You said that insulin will be putting the sugar inside the cells.
Very simple. Just okay. I understood your question. Pancreas is starting inside. Suppose you are putting gas into the balloon. Balloon is completely expanded. So if you put again the gas again to the balloon, what will happen? The balloon will burst. So after a certain stage, either the cell should burst or the cell should say, I had sufficient. So it rejects. So the insulin has to deposit the fat somewhere. You got my point? Suppose I am allowed to keep my books on this table. This table is completely filled. Okay, so what the normal option is there? This table is free. I'll try to keep the book on this shelf, isn't it? That is logical. So insulin cannot utilize any cells because the cells are not opening because it's completely saturated. So what is the additional option is either insulin has an option to put the fat into that whatever the glycogen reserve into either liver or the abdomen area, which is a little bit vacant. That's called visceral fat. There is a fat difference is there, visceral fat. Inside, that's why I always says, the fat which is outside is not dangerous. Always says, even when you cut the animal also, you can see kind of a lining, which is called the visceral fat. Even on the chicken and all, we can see that. That particular fat is because the adrenal response, the fat is depositing on the tummy. That's called the visceral fat. That particular fat is very dangerous because of this response. That's what, did you understand? That's why it's deposits on the easy targeted area is stomach. It's a vacant area, understand? In that, they don't require any cells also. It can just deposit as molecules. That become visceral fat, converted into. That's entirely structure is different. We don't need to learn that one. You have to just learn that the additional, cell, this will be shifted to this thing.
No fat cell will go for that.
Fat cell that is converted into that is a function. It's written over here. Visceral fat, fat cells. Fat cell. The other one, it actually stores on the muscle cell, all these functional cells. This is after that, if there is no muscle cell or anything is available, it converts into fat and just deposit it. That's how that's how the insulin creates fat by carbohydrate, from the carbohydrate. That's why it's told that insulin.
We can remove a fat cell. Once a fat cell is created, it will be there forever.
Yeah. Fat cell is created, yeah, it will be remain. The number of cells will always remain the same, but the size can be improved, Yeah, you can take it out. That's called liposuction. Liposuction is removing the fat cells from the system. So automatically loads of fat cells are removed. So there is no systems to just put it inside. So it will go as excretion. Most of the things goes as excretion.
So naturally, there is no way of removing.
Yeah, burning fat is there. But that's all exercise. When the body actually should utilize, when the sugar level comes down, body has to depend upon other sources of energy. Fat is a source of energy. When sugar, carbohydrate, this thing is not there. That's why when the carbohydrate you reduce, body start utilizing fat as energy. So you reduce the fat. That's called ketosis. But metabolism is entirely different. So with the presence of carbohydrate, reducing the fat is slightly tough. That's why in ketosis, we lose the body fat very faster. Is it very clear? Understood the logic? The moment carbohydrate is a primary energy, if you don't eat the carbohydrate for 3 days also, nothing will happen. Body will survive with the ketones, and the brain requires not the carbohydrate. Brain needs a fat energy, ketones. So that ketone is converted into the liver and the brain utilizes. That's why പണ്ട് കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ നെയ്യ് കഴിച്ചാൽ brain power കൂടുന്നു പറയുന്നത്. The logic is that it says that the people who eat ghee, in fact, their brain power improves. So there is a logic I just now understand is because the ghee has only fat. The fat is converted into the liver. It directly, the brain could utilize it. Carbohydrate actually it can utilize whatever the fat comes out of the food. It could utilize. Okay, anyway, I'll come to all these things later. I'm not explaining all those things now. I just want to understand whether you understood insulin and the cortisol or not. Is it clear? Two things, and we were explaining about the autophagy, isn't it? Whatever it is, just look at this thing called autophagy. What does autophagy means? Do you know that? How many red blood cells are created within 2-3 minutes time? 300 million red blood cells are created in our system every 2-3 minutes or something like that, or half a minute or something. That much thing is there. So each and every cell is what's happening. Is it the same cell? It's happening in white blood cells, which is it's like completely created and it's like damaged within 1 month time. So it's not the same body. Even the skin is not the same. We are actually new always. Only certain tissues are remain, in fact. Even the entire liver could reproduce it, in fact. So each and every cell is, in fact, regenerated. That's why the importance of protein comes. I'll just explain it later. But every day, the cell dies, the new cells will create. Where all these cells will go? It will remain inside your system itself, no? Isn't it? Why we do scrubbing for the face? What's the logic? How the skin will become glowing? Dead skin, isn't it? So skin is a cell. Skin is an organ, isn't it? So that skin is dying. We are rubbing and giving. What about the inside cells? Are we rubbing and doing anything? You cannot do anything to that. So what is happening to those cells which is dying every day? How you remove that? So in the olden days, that's why it said, fast. Don't eat anything for minimum 24 hours. I'll tell you the importance of fasting. When the body doesn't have anything, like if you don't trigger, especially the insulin, don't trigger the insulin for minimum 18 hours, body can store only 1,400 grams or something, it's like stored energy. We cannot store anything. Glycogen reserve will be only below 2,000 only. But fat can be stored for 70,000. You can store. That's why the body is full of fat. Glycogen we cannot. Within, it's like 1,500 to 2,000 is the maximum. So within 18 hours, the stored glycogen, or the sugar, whatever it is, in the stored cells will completely come down. Okay. So the sugar is depleted from this one, the body. Okay. So what is the thing? The next energy is what? The body doesn't have any energy to do that. So body should utilize some, something as energy. So there are so many dead cells between the healthy cells. So this healthy cells will scavenge the dead cells, and that healthy cell will become more stronger and powerful. So it eats ourselves. That's called it's autophagy means self-eating. In fact, phagy means you are just eating yourself. You are eating your debris, like the unwanted thing. Do you know that 300 grams of amino acids are available every day for renewal? The healthy cell can. That's why you think that when you fast, you lose muscle, you build muscles. Suppose a person who was doing exercise, taking protein, and it's like doing everything. If they fast for 3 days also, when you check your weight after that also, your lean muscle mass will increase, because minimum 200 grams of protein is available for 72 hours of time from the body itself. Not only carbohydrate, pure form of amino acids are available in the form of dead cells. That's the power of he actually found that system called. After that, all the it's like disease management changed because of that. Why it's changed? Why it's changed? This is a wonderful system, because the moment the insulin is off, all of the functions on the system are active. Growth hormone, have you heard about GH? Growth hormone. Growth hormone, what it does? It actually creates cells. That's why we grow when we are young. That actually stops working after the age of 20. When you fast, after 18 hours, growth hormone kicks in, because it has to construct the new cells. So again, finally, growth hormone is introduced into the system. So what is the advantage of that? Anti-aging. You will become more younger. You got my point? That's called. Then our next one is called, if it's female, it's estrogen. If it's men, it's called testosterone. Testosterone is a powerful hormone which defines almost every function of your system. Psychological, everything. Everything triggers. You can feel it like. I have done more than 72 hours at a stretch fasting. After that 48 hours finishes, you just get into a euphoric state, in fact. Because when the absence of, why we are diverted? Because all our energy is actually entirely focused on what? Digestion. Digestion and this confusion. We are into this complete chaotic situation. Our energy is into this. And the creativity just peaks up like hell. Suppose we are writing, take my words, if you are doing any writing or anything, just fast and see for 48 hours to 72 hours, your thought process and everything will be that sharper. You got my point? And one more thing is there. New system, what he told is, only carbohydrate is restricted. The thing which won't trigger the insulin, you are into the state of autophagy only. You can drink coffee. You can eat ghee. You can take, it's like coconut oil if you want. You can take butter if you want. Still, you remain in that state itself. Or, there is a thing called fast mimicking. Just take below 20 grams of protein, same thing will happen in a day. So there are techniques now to trigger the autophagy. This actually, it's a magic. Any disease, anything, you can improve your health, mental acuity, anything. This is just like somebody has given you a weapon for you with so many facets. In fact, it has so many things it could do, and it's very famous. That's why this person got the Nobel Prize. It's not his fasting was there, but what exactly happened scientifically? The moment we understood, the people started utilizing this also gone up, and not only that. Now people started controlling diabetes without drugs. After the invention of this one particular thing. That's why I told what? You should have a clear knowledge about what exactly happening with one. Fasting was there, no, thousands of years. He didn't invent the fasting. But what he told is how the when fasting happened, what exactly happening inside your system? What exactly happening with the insulin hormone? Isn't it? That's what he told. But it's magic. You understand?
So what do you recommend? Every week you need to fast?
If you could do fasting 24 hours in a week, or at least every fortnight, like every 2 weeks, once, if you do that, that's fine. 24 hours, if you could do, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, 18 hours, like one meal a day. Like the end of the day, you can have one meal. That will be on the end, that's all. But you should not trigger the insulin for minimum 18 to 20 hours, that's all. Then you will be getting the little bit of, but autophagy kicks in from the 18th hour. 18th hour, still it remains up to 36 hours. So if you could just go 24 hours, perfect. No problem. You can have a couple of spoons of, those who like the ghee, I don't know whether I like it or not, but ghee is a good thing, in fact, to have it, in fact. Just normally also. You can drink coffee also, you can drink green tea also without sugar or anything. But believe me, your health, your everything will change. So instead of going for everything, the bullet is what? The fasting. If you could do every week, 24 hours a day, your whole thing, health will change. Take it my word. Otherwise, there are substitutes for this one. That's called intermittent fasting. So we'll come to that one later, intermittent fasting. There are so many kinds of fasting. We just don't eat for 18 hours. From 18 hours to 24 hours, we eat 6 hours. Still, we get the benefit of autophagy, but not like fasting, that's all. So there are techniques to do that. Now you understood what's the nothing will happen. Ulcer is what? Ulcer is a problem of, again, that's called leaky gut, in fact. Do you know that almost 30 to, bacteria sizes, you know that. Bacteria is very microbe, that's called microbe. 750 grams of amoeba in this kind of bacteria live in your gut. Do you know that? So it's not actually, the gut is not a delicate thing. Your gut is, once you leave that, gut will become more healthy. Because when you don't put the garbage inside your gut, the bacteria will thrive. What you're doing through the food, is it doing good to the ulcer is what? You're putting bad bacteria to the good bacteria is dying. It's not just not a line. Microorganisms are there inside the system that is doing the, the gut is called the second brain. That much powerful. And that's what, ulcer is only you're damaging with the food. With the absence of food, ulcer will be better. You got my point? Even you can drink a coffee also, nothing will happen. You say, but a person has a ulcer, they will get immediate irritation along with the food, isn't it?
So the ulcer is not happening because of the
stomach lining.
Acids produced and damaging the...
Acids are producing inside the system when the food is coming. And the food is coming.
He is eating, I am not eating. I automatically the amino acids just getting produced.
Get secreted for a little bit time. But brain is not that stupid, in fact. It produces for a little bit of time, stops. So that's why it says when you fast, you should drink water. So normal quantity, we drink like 8 glasses of water. During that time, you could take 12 glasses of water mixed with bit of pink Himalayan pink salt or the sea salt, little bit in that one, because to replenish the minerals and micronutrients. The moment the body understands that it's only water, the body stops producing the digestive fluids. Body is an intelligent mechanism. Body learns, not like us. Body learns within 3-4 hours of time. We actually learn within, it's like it takes long time. But whatever you torture the body learns within 2-3 hours of time what you do. Your actions are always, body is an evolving mechanism. It's not like you can change anything. Your habit can change, your entire food structure can change, everything. 2 days, you're a new person. 2 weeks, your habit is fixed. Nothing. Body adapts. Adaptation, it's very faster, body adapts. Then some people are very sick, they won't. But general immunity, general health and all, body just takes it like that. You got my point?
If I take water along with the food, it will dilute the amino acids, the enzymes. No?
Enzymes. That's true.
Then it will affect my digestion, right?
Digestion but happens not in the stomach, is in the peristalsis, happens on the stomach by mixing with the acids, but it happens, that is also it's slightly wrong, because you have to chew the food so that the saliva should mix. The digestion happens from the mouth, and more than, it's like the stomach, it happens. That's why it says you should, one rotation you should chew, like both the sides should chew with the using all the teeth. So once you chew, it mixes, merges with the saliva, and actually it already semi-digested, in fact. And not only that, the food actually we are cooking is, the entire fiber is broken, almost all the vitamins are broken, not much to digest also. It has to take the nutrient from the food only. So it goes to this one anyway. Stomach acids are there. Depends upon what we eat. Like if you eat a beef or something, the body produces that kind of acids. If you eat a normal vegetarian food only, it recognizes that and produces only that kind of this thing. That's why when you alter different kinds of food, the body gets confused. That's all. Otherwise, body produces only that much. Then it happens only in the large intestine, then the small intestine, and just like that. So it's not a big deal that people say to reduce the weight, drink water and eat. Okay? Drink water and eat. What will happen? It will just dilute this one, and water just goes fast just like that. You have to use the washroom, that's all. No benefit at all. Because of water, before you taking the food itself, water gone from the stomach. Water reached somewhere. You got my point. It's just like, there is a saying that your body contains 60% of water. Is it true or false? Is it true? The body contains 60% of electrolytes. Why then, when you are sick in this one, or when you are having vomiting or something, you could have taken just water, no? Why you are taking oral dehydration supplements? To replenish you, what do you take? Oral, Pocari Sweat, why you take? It's an electrolyte. Body has 60% electrolyte, not water. So water intake is important for a person who does activity. Just like that, if they are if they are using gym, they need minimum 8 glasses of water, because they just lose as sweat minimum 6 to 8 glasses of water.
If I take more water, will it dilute my blood viscosity?
Not only that, actually, there is a disease comes out of the cells will swollen up because of the excess water. There is a term, I forgot that. There is a term, in fact, with the disease, in fact. Suppose your activity level is so high, water intake accordingly we can take. A sedentary person takes unnecessary water, the cells will swollen up with that one, and it's damaging for the health, in fact. So a sedentary person should not take more than 8 glasses of water, but an active person should take minimum 12 to 14 glasses of water. But whenever you are thirsty, and one more thing is there, the body doesn't understand what is thirst and what is hunger. Is it true or false? Hunger is we know. Thirst is also we know. We crave for the water sometimes. So the body exactly needs water. Actually, when any person does the heavy workout, you will understand what is thirst, in fact. The moment you start doing, you will search for water everywhere. But a sedentary person doesn't require, means body doesn't want. But the moment you start doing workout, you will see that you don't have to put the thing for the water intake. You will automatically go to the water station and keeping on filling yourself. Thirst is that, because you're losing the water, you're taking the water. Losing the water, taking the water. But when you sit in the AC, what will happen is, sweating is not happening. Body gets confused whether we need it or not. So body won't even take it also. In that case, forcefully drinking, it's like a sufficient amount of water makes sense. You got my point? Because we are fooling the body by sitting in the AC room. You got my point? So body thinks that you are in a climate which is very comfortable, in fact. We are not, in fact. So in that case, taking water like 7 to 8 cups of in equal intervals, that makes sense. But a person, ideal, just not doing anything, sitting at home, just he's drinking 10 glasses of water, that is absurdity, in fact. he actually will be get, it's like some other kind of diseases only by drinking water. So a person is very active. They should drink minimum 2.5 to 3 liters of water, in fact. So it all depends upon one size doesn't fit all. It all depends upon.
Along with the drinks, we should take soda or what?
Good question. In fact, aerated drinks combination gives bit of. I suggest you take, it's like mild one, like what is that? The thing is soda is so powerful. So Perrier or what is that? Sparkling water. There is another one. Is there? Mildly this one sparkled one, which won't kill the taste of the alcohol also, but it gives a good kick, and the water is also good. In fact, so the hydration is needed. When you take the alcohol, you have to drink. That's why it says, I'm just giving as a tip, in fact, like those who drink, anyway, we drank. What to do for the dehydration? It's a scientific thing. What happens when you drink, in fact? Okay.
Can you explain this dehydration? What exactly happens?
Dehydration means actually the body takes all the water, because when you take the alcohol, the blood should not keep the alcohol inside the same like sugar. Alcohol is sugar. Do you know that? Everyone knows that, no? Alcohol is sugar, in fact. Ah, that is there. Like calories, one beer has 130 kilocalorie of it's carbohydrate. Whiskey is there. Like whiskey, like 4-5 pegs around 400 to 500 is there. So that is that much concentrated. That much is there. That's why whatever you do, when we have the liquor, in fact, we don't, nothing shows on the system. When we do the exercise also.
After party, next day you diet for 1 hour.
Yeah, there is a method is there. That's called biohacking. So how to drink healthy, in fact. There is a technique, in fact. The thing is, the dehydration will happen. The best thing in the morning is, the liver is the thing which actually continuously cleanses, and it's just diuretic, in fact. So liver just processes the alcohol and just throw it out of the system. So we lose the water from the system. That's why dehydration happens. Alcohol doesn't do anything. The body has a system that processes the alcohol, and through the urinary tract it should be released. So the stored water will go with the alcohol, so that the body get the stored water also will go. So dehydration happens. That's what happens.
So what happens with the food with a lot of salt?
Salt holds the water. Salt is, in fact, you do know that the function for better functioning of the heart, we need salt. Yeah, you should not cut down the salt fully. You will get heart attack. You understand? You should not, in fact. And in fact, salt can be actually. Suppose you are liking salt, you can control the side effect of salt by taking potassium. It will nullify the effect of sodium by taking the potassium, in fact. Potassium is having all the vegetable has potassium. You can take a supplement as a supplement.
Why it is saying always avoid the 5 W's?
Yeah, that is in the beginning actually they told the salt is actually the processed salt is bad little bit. But the real rock salt is we actually the preferred quantity is 1000 milligram, means half teaspoon of salt we need it, in fact, for the functioning of the body. But what is happening is, when you suppose, that is through the food, when you take chips, what will happen? 3-4 spoons of sugar is there. Then a couple of nuggets, French fries. Altogether, how much sugar? It became 6 or 7 spoons of sugar. 6 or 7 spoons of, like a salt is bad. But salt is essential to a quantity which is 1000 to 2000 milligrams. That's what the thing, it's not. The term came, salt is bad. Yes, of course, the people who has BP, salt can interact with the BP. Okay, that is, I will explain, because the BP I have to explain when I have to explain this one. Those who have the BP, when they take the salt can slightly, it's like enhance, it's like slightly trigger the BP. But that doesn't mean that body doesn't need it. Excess amount of salt is not needed. That's all. But body needs a minimum 2 grams of salt is absolutely, 2000 milligram of salt is absolutely fine with the system. And you need it also for the better functioning of all the cells and everything. And even that's why I told in the morning, suppose if you drink in the morning, it's not drinking water. Get up in the morning, have a couple of Pokari sweat. You know Pokari? Why? Still, it's again, I told you, to replenish the body. Water won't replenish. Electrolytes. Pokari is what? Electrolyte, oral electrolyte. Immediately, is it people will drink our buttermilk, മോരും തൈരും ഒക്കെ എടുത്ത് കുടിക്കും. Is it good? Thinking that സ്റ്റൊമക്കിനൊരു കൂളിംഗ് കിട്ടട്ടെ എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ട് സ്റ്റൊമക്കിന് എവിടെ കൂളിംഗ് കിട്ടണം അതൊക്കെ ആൽക്കഹോൾ എവിടെയോ പോയി alcohol is when somewhere. The thing is, the liver has to do all the purpose. To support the liver, what is needed? Fat is needed. To support the liver in the morning after having the electrolyte, immediately have couple of eggs in good butter or the olive oil. With if you want to have a couple of bacons, you have the bacons. You will support the liver also. It's like slightly your hangover will also subside. People will think after having it's like a hangover, you should not eat too much. You should eat only light. No. What the thing is, hydrate your system with the electrolyte and support the liver by see over there also you're supporting the liver with what? Healthy fat.
So what about the role of this pH balancing?
Which one? Body.
pH value.
Body does that automatically. Alkaline and we don't have to. If slightly
No,
change.
but when we design the food, no, we should have the ingredients accordingly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, alkaline food.
Alkaline, yeah, definitely. That's why the vinegar became very fat, in fact. Vinegar is acetic acid. Cooking is a stress buster, in fact, when you're doing with the grilling or something, with a glass of wine and all. Especially for you, actually, it's just like a relaxing kind of having a couple of wine and it's like grilling and all. It's mental stress buster, diversion little bit. And it's whatever food we need, we are making it, it gives a lot of satisfaction. Awareness of food, not only the women, in fact, the men should also have, because otherwise, how do they tell the women that they need that? Or the women, how do they make it, in fact? So, staples like, without food, we cannot survive. We must know about that, isn't it? That's the primary thing. Take care of the health. We must know that. Eating, definitely. You have to know about what is good. And, it's like we are still stumbling on idli. How much, it's like carbohydrate is there, this thing is there.